What is happening, everybody? Today we're going to be doing a comparison authentication video for the Longines Perpetual calendar Moonphase automatic Swiss watch. To make the comparison even, I've just put the other one on a leather strap, as the original one just came on a leather strap. So we won't be going into the bracelet or anything of that nature. So we're just going to be looking at the watch itself. So Longines is a brand that's well established in the industry. They've been around since the mid 1800s, late 1800s, and they've been producing phenomenal pieces throughout the decades. This particular watch in itself is probably one of my favorite Longines watch, and it's the most watch you can get for the money, as in the features, the brand heritage, legacy, reputation, the build quality, movement, attention to detail, finishing, the design, everything is flawless on this watch, in my opinion. So to help identify, if you're ever in the case where you need to authenticate this particular reference, this video will easily show you. I've been looking for videos myself online, haven't been able to find any, so that's really driven me to create my own to help everyone else, as the fakes are getting a lot better. So if you were to just look at one of these watches by themselves, you'd think both of them were authentic, especially to an untrained eye. You wouldn't be able to tell just by having a glance. However, when you get into further detailing, that's where things start to really separate one from another. So visually, they're very similar looking. I can tell you right now, when you've got them right next to each other and you're looking at them in person, it's milestones different. Completely two different worlds. But if you're looking at even just the fake one by itself up close, you wouldn't be able to spot it unless you really know what you're looking at. So straight off the bat, you can see the lug width on the authentic is larger than the fake. So the authentic lug width for this reference is 22 millimeters, whereas the replica has a 20 millimeter lug width. And they've tried to mimic the shape of the case and angle the way it tapers down. However, it's not a really refined finish and does have a sort of boxy box looking to it. It's not, doesn't have the rounded edges sort of. It's sort of just straight, actually. It's not even tapered in or anything. You can have a look here. completely just like flat, because these ones have a little bit of tapering to them. It's one dead giveaway. Second, ooh, it's got a fake one anyway. The second clear, obvious dead giveaway are the buttons on the side. So these two, non-functional, merely for aesthetics. I mean, they've just glued two little round pieces of metal to mimic this singular one here. However, they've done a shocking job. Like the size of the buttons are way too big. Sorry, so-called buttons. With non-functioning buttons, actually, that actually changes your date on the authentic version, whereas this doesn't do anything. You can tell next to each other that this face looks a little bit smaller, and also the crystal is domed on the authentic, and it's a sapphire crystal, whereas the replica just has a flat, straight mineral crystal. You can even hear it just by tapping it. This sounds like just hollow, whereas that, you can feel the shock absorption in the sapphire. So we'll go into the dial and the print text detailing. So straight off the bat, they've tried to mimic the Arabic numerals on the dial. Very close representation, probably the closest out of anything on the dial. However, the numbers are a little thick, like they're not exactly as they should be. They're slightly thicker. You can really see once you've got them next to each other. Apologies on the terrible video angle. It's the best I can work with. Not really too experienced doing YouTube videos. Just thought I'd start putting up videos that I can't really find myself. Like, you'd think there'd be an authentication video at least for a watch of this caliber, but not even an article or anything. Just carrying on about some irrelevant references and some vintage pieces. So this will give you a good clarification. So you can see the bluing on the hands. The authentic, the bluing is phenomenal. So that requires steel to be heated at extremely high temperatures, and it actually turns the metal that color, the entire piece, whereas on your replica it's just got, I guess, like a paint applied to it, like a tacky blue paint. You can even see the poor finishing. Quite well, actually. Let me just get out one of these. Jeweler's loop so you guys can get a proper proper look. Let's clean that up. See, I'll just go around the dial on that. Take a look up close. I mean, the camera's not really picking it up, but on the authentic, it's stones different. Like, even just the blue, phenomenal looking. Especially once they're next to each other, you really get a good idea of the difference. And even just the guilloche patterning on the dial and the finishing is second to none. Absolutely stunning, the authentic, whereas the replica just looks tacky. The case thickness and dimensions on the authentic, including the dome crystal, is about 15.5 millimeters, whereas the replica is about 13.5. Take a close look, try to zoom in on that, next to each other. The functionality and the usage of the whole mechanism is completely off on this. You can see this has a timer. Stop at the seconds hand, reset it, set it again. This is just some gimmick, changing dates and the day, which is no function at all. Can't even control the moon phase. Like, the winding just sounds horrible, terrible. Whereas this is just, don't know if the camera's picking it up. Very, very, very smooth. Just, yeah, everything, the detailing, finishing, functionality, completely off. It's just made to look like what this watch has, as in terms of the functions of all these buttons and even just the crown. You can see that it's a bit too large. This one's a lot smaller on the original, with the cases next to each other. So we're going with the movement. I've done a good job on the print, the font, text, as in the text is very accurate, however the color's off, and then everything just goes downhill from there. That's probably the only thing about the movement that is even slightly close to the real. You can see the case back on that. And then if you take a look at the authentic, it's completely different. milestones different. The finishing, the smoothness of the rotor, everything really. This is just dressed up. It's not even accurately dressed up to look like the real movement. It looks really tacky right next to each other. Even any jeweler would be able to pick that up. It's not something that you'd see in a watch of this caliber, or expect anyway. Even just the overall finishing and the sharp edges just display that it's not a quality instrument. So in terms of the watch itself, because I'm not comparing the bracelets, that's pretty much just, it's equivalent to being a print of an original painting. That's how I'd put it. I wouldn't recommend it at all. Stay away from any replicas. This is strictly reference material. Always go with the OG. And that'll last you a lifetime. Something you can service forever, pass down. Heirloom quality, Swiss made. Very reputable, very reputable brand, which have been in the industry for well over 100 years, since the mid to late 1800s. And they've only refined their craft. So I'd highly recommend picking one of these up if you get the opportunity to. And yeah, I hope this really helped anyone trying to authenticate their watches. Thank you for watching the video. Like, comment, share, subscribe.